You're short, and you're a terrible burden on your poor mother.
So I think I finally have a better definition for our short topic here. I know you initially thought, or maybe you expected, we were going to talk about the paradox.
Okay. I'm not sure what we're talking about today.
Exactly. So of course, our next movie is going to be the Cloverfield Paradox. That's what we're going to discuss. But in the meantime, I thought we'd set back in the newly remodeled Bag End studio, and we would discuss instead, because I need to put this to bed. I tried so many times to write it up and sum up this question.
Oh, now I know what it's going to be.
Okay, because we've already talked about this a little bit, but I was having a hard time expressing it, so I put it up on the group, on the Vicis Interimo group page on Facebook. And it still didn't come off right. So here is my question. What movie or duo, what pair of movies, what movies have you watched with such religious fervor? Yes, with such religious fervor that it could be said to define a decade for you? That was terrible. I should have written this down.
Wow, that was...
Yeah. So what movies have you watched so many times that you could say, okay, for me, like the 80s, I watched this movie so often, and this is maybe just stupid, and this is maybe why it'll just be a short topic, but I have a lot to say on it only because I've thought about this quite a bit.
Well, see, now you've added a movie that you've seen so many times.
Yeah, that is defined it for you, because every time I said...
See, I didn't know it was the
movie,
amount, the number of times that you watched it.
It's a personal question. So I want to know what you and maybe other people have watched. So I put that out there, and everybody, they're shouting out, Big Trouble in Little China, or they're, Ghostbusters, or, whatever, and Goonies, or just something like that. But, okay,
those are all movies that define the 80s, for sure.
Okay, but I'm talking about a personal movie that you've watched so many times that it would define a decade for you. Okay, I'm going to go first because, like I said, you're maybe completely unprepared for this.
I am, because you changed the question.
Okay, well, I more clearly defined the question is what I
Because before it was what movie defined the decade for you.
Yeah.
But now you're saying that you've watched so many times. So now I'm rethinking.
Yeah, and I'm trying to keep it light here because I actually started to think about these movies and why I watched them, and then I got all soul-searchy and moody and stuff. So anyhow, mine for the 80s actually are Blade Runner and Highlander. So there's two. You don't necessarily need two. I'd just be interested to hear one from you. But those two movies for me, well, I think I said this before when we started to talk about it at McDonald's some time ago. You know what I mean? I had gained a certain amount of independence or whatever. I could be in charge of what I wanted to watch. Those movies spoke to me for various reasons. And I won't get into the whole thing except to say, like, Highlander is a perfect movie for me because of the soundtrack and the subject matter and so on. So that, and with, well, I guess I will go ahead and talk about it. Blade Runner, for me, got me interested in, I was already interested in sci-fi and stuff, but to research the book, the Philip K. Dick book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? I learned about Mercerism, and there's like you said, when Ridley Scott did it, he threw out, there were like 30 different storylines going on in the first couple of chapters of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and he just threw all that out and concentrated on the Blade Runner story arc. But but that got me interested in learning about that, reading it, and then I was fascinated with Mercerism and Kipplization and all those things that are in there that aren't covered in the book. Having said that, we do need to watch both Blade Runner and go see the new Blade Runner movie also. But,
yes.
So those two, though, for me, were the 80s. That was the 80s. I saw all the other movies and stuff like that.
You have a lot of reasons for choosing them.
I have reasons for choosing them. You maybe are not going to have that. Can you think of anything that like that? Does that even matter? Is this is a stupid topic? Maybe I just...
No, it isn't.
All right, I don't know.
I'm going to seem pretty dull, though, here.
Well, that's why I said I may be able to do all the talking because it won't be fair. I've had time to think about it. But I'm interested to hear what our other listeners and stuff, if there's something that they've watched just like so many times that it defined it for them. Like, did you watch Friday the 13th so many times because of the kills in it or whatever? Like, I don't know. Anything for the 80s you can think of?
Well, the movie I probably watched the most was Clockwork Orange, but that certainly doesn't define the 80s for me. So I don't have...
Okay, that's good enough. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the 80s and stuff. Just, it was you, personally, you watched that a lot during the 80s. Where the heck did you see it? Because I know your mom and dad weren't letting you watch it.
Well, I had
maybe that doesn't even matter. I don't know.
Yeah, I had a tape.
No, okay.
I don't remember where I got it.
Okay. Well,
picked it up somewhere.
That brings up my 90s then. I'll just move on to the 90s then.
We're doing the 90s too?
Well, I've got the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay.
Is that too much? Is this lame? I don't know. So, okay.
Well, Fargo is my 90s, I'll just say that.
Oh, there you go. And that's...
But I still, it's not this big personal, it defined that decade for me and all of that. I mean, I probably definitely have a favorite, or...
Okay, well,
it's because
that's okay. And
since you changed it, you did change it, you said a movie you've watched so many times, those two...
With religious fervor,
that was a no-brainer for me. The 80s, Clockwork Orange.
Okay.
The 90s, I watched Fargo probably way too many times. Every weekend.
Okay, I gotcha. For me, it was two movies, and this actually goes, because it's not when they were released. For me, I watched way too much, or far too often, Pink Floyd The Wall. And I realized that was obviously, when did that, I'm not even sure when that actually came out. 70s,
not in the 90s, though.
Yeah, but for me, that's when I found it, and that's where it spoke to me. I don't know, just watching that movie was a certain amount of catharsis, and I would pop it on when there was nobody else around, and I would watch it a lot.
Okay.
And the other one, going back to what you were saying about having a tape, the 90s, I had heavy metal.
Right.
Because it wasn't out there. It wasn't readily available. I had an acquaintance, we'll say, that had acquired a bootleg of it back when a bootleg was a big deal, and there were some things you couldn't get anywhere. And so...
I was say it's not anything like it is now.
No, you can find anything anywhere and go online pretty much and get it, stuff like that. But for me, finding heavy metal and getting to watch it as much as I wanted,
Right.
And it may have even been on a beta tape. I'm not even sure.
Wow.
But that was something that was, that actually defined my 90s for me, was watching that. And I'm not saying I didn't watch other movies in the meantime or whatever.
Right.
That just, I went back to that again and again. Okay. Still not quite as much as Highlander. Highlander, I would wake up out of a sound sleep and could recite every single word.
Right.
People would put it on in the other room, and I was like, I'd come out and watch it in the middle of it. Anyhow, so that's my 90s. So 90s were that. 2000s, the movies were Fight Club and American Beauty.
Okay.
Yeah. Fight Club, 5 minutes into Fight Club, I knew I was going to own it as soon as it came out. I even showed up at the video store before it was available, trying to get it and stuff. I thought the release date for the movie was when it was going to be out to video, still video. I thought that, and it's no, it was just being released. You couldn't buy it or whatever, but I showed up and went home all mad because I couldn't get it. Oh. Anyhow, I loved Fight Club. I love Fight Club, still love Fight Club.
Okay.
So Fight Club. And American Beauty was one of those that it was off, how do I want to put it? It was not my normal fare. You know what I mean? These other movies, are science fiction, fantasy, that type of stuff. So American Beauty, but for whatever, just considering where I was in life at the time, that movie just spoke to me immensely. And I really enjoyed it. So the 2000s were that for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have anything for the 2000s?
Well, I watched Lord of the Rings probably more than I've ever watched anything.
Okay. All right.
It was probably the decade of Harry Potter, too.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, so that brings me then to...
If I had more time to think about it, I mean, well...
Now that I've defined the question a little better, I guess.
Yeah, because if we're talking something that we liked so well that we could watch it over and over and over and over and over.
But I mean, a little bit more than that. I'm thinking that there was a deeply spiritual connection to me for those and stuff. And maybe not fair that I'm springing that on you.
I feel like we're having a repeat of your question from a few weeks back when it was like a cathartic, personal, a movie that was cathartic for you. And
yeah,
I feel like we're revisiting that.
So you're saying this is just lame?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right. Well, anyhow, so I thought about it.
I feel lame because you've got all these great answers.
Well,
and I'm just sitting here going, duh.
I've spent a lot of time thinking on this.
I could
being
tell.
all soul searchy and but anyhow, so my point was then beyond that, like after 2010, like I can't. Things are so readily available.
Yeah.
That I would have a hard time defining anything.
Okay.
After that, because we're almost to 2020.
Yeah. I don't even know. I can't even keep track of. As soon as it hit the year 2000, like I lost track of time.
There's so many things.
Like where does Watchmen fit in?
Yeah.
That movie is. That one speaks to me. That's probably my favorite movie.
Okay.
And. Yeah.
Well, okay. I don't know.
I think we went and. As long as it was in the theater, I was trying to get you to go with me. Like, we got to go see it one more time in the theater.
Well, and we own 3 copies of it now, or
yeah.
We have the director's cut. We've got the Black Freighter. We've got the animated version of the comic book, the motion comic book and stuff. Mm-hmm. But okay, so I mean, fair enough. Then maybe this is a lame topic, but I'd like to hear what other people have to say. You can find us on Facebook or whatever. Also. I will be returning with the Twitter account though it will be renamed or whatever. We're not using that anymore. I'm going to go back and I'm going to come back online with.
We have a Twitter account?
We had a Twitter account, but that was something different. Mostly we just heard from Lonely Bob on there at Lonely Bob. But anyhow, yeah. So we'll be back with probably it'll be M2. 30M2K. But anyhow, other changes are coming, so hang in there with us. As always, I've got to thank the patrons. They help make this possible, or help keep us going. I guess we've said this before. We would do this with or without patrons. It's better doing it with patrons, though.
We can't do it without them. Are you kidding?
I don't want to put too much pressure.
Yeah, I know.
So anyhow, a huge thank you to our patrons at Lonely Bob, Big Alvy, and Golda Fish. Your support means everything to us. The fact that anybody else can become a patron, the fact that you even tune in and listen to these is...
Yeah, that's nice.
It's great. So where was I going with that? I was saying find us on Facebook. VICISINTERIMO. We'll continue to do... I don't know. The next short topic should be up to you. I feel like I'm monopolizing these. You think about something small you want to talk about or whatever, and we'll go with that.
Well, yours have all been movie related. Is that our theme? Should they
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking that folks are this. It gives us a chance to talk about movies outside of horror. So, though we do that too, also. But
I see.
Yeah. So the Cloverfield Paradox, the next thing we'll be talking about. And I'm not sure if this will make it out before then, but the Throwback Thursday episode is Ghoulies.
Oh my gosh.
So
didn't we do it on both of them?
We did talk about both movies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we did them back to back or both on the same episode, which is terrible. I'm putting it up. I should know. But that will be our Throwback Thursdays. Things have been a little complicated this week. We don't need to get into all that, but thank you for those of you that are hanging in there and listening to us. I think we killed it.
I think so.
All right. You sound super sexy like Kathleen Turner.
No, I don't. I just sound like I'm sick, don't I?
No. So here's the problem with today's short
Are you
topic.
already recording?
Yeah.
The heck?
So
annoying.
okay. Here's the problem with today's short topic. We may not actually record this, despite the fact that I'm recording now. Can you think of 2 movies to define? How about define a decade for you? If I was to ask you, can you think of 2 movies?
16 Candles and Pretty in Pink?
Okay, would that be the 80s?
Absolutely.
Okay. What about the 90s?
Fargo?
And? So this is what I was going to say. So when I do this short topic thing, you kind of need
time to think about these
things. You need time to think about it. So we'll maybe come back to this.
Well, the 80s was easy.
80s was easy.
I mean, those are just the first 2 that, if I thought about it longer, I could probably think of 2 that define the decade more.
For you?
For everybody else.
Okay. I'm thinking about for you, though. You personal.
Huh.
All right, we'll get back to this one or whatever, because I've got mine, of course. That's no fair. I've thought about the topic and had my answers prepared, so we'll approach this again when you're a little less Kathleenish.
I'm not saying anything.
I can tell. I need a camera to capture those faces, though.
No, you really don't.